When you think of a business coming in or somebody building something, there's always kind of a mess, you know, while things are getting going. And I think it's just our nature to look at something and think that it's going to get better. You know, once they get done, it's going to be built and it's going to look good. But with mining, it's the opposite. It continues to get worse and worse.
Reaction to the mining of industrial silica sand on Minnesota and Wisconsin farmlands becomes a stirring alert in a new documentary. The film is named The Price of Sand.
You're tearing this village apart.
There doesn't seem to be a middle road, so it pits people against each other.
They're going to strip their property and they're going to leave, and they're going to smile while they're doing it because they don't care.
The sand mines that we're talking about now are actually quarries. They're taking sandstone hills. You can't even come close to replacing what those hills do. They're a huge water manufacturing factory that Mother Nature gave us, and they're gone. You can't redo it.
Got the frac sand blues.
Industrial silica sand, or frac sand, is used to retrieve oil and natural gas from subterranean shale. It's transported to distant oil fields where it is mixed with liquid agents and pumped at high pressure into subterranean rock. The pressure fractures the rock, making it possible to retrieve the natural gas and crude oil locked within.
Over the course of this film, I've worked with 3 different pilots. The one that helped me the most was Jim McElrath.
The independent film, directed by Jim Tittle, was warmly received in preview screenings in Red Wing and St. Paul.
When you actually get up in the air and you see a sand mine from the air, it's shocking. It's a lot bigger than you thought it would be.
The film is great. I mean, I think Jim has really covered as many bases as possible that you could possibly cover in an hour.
What it uncovered to me and to the people I came with is a lot of people don't even understand what it is, let alone understand how widespread it is in Wisconsin. And absolutely it's going to come into Minnesota.
The Price of Sand has its official premiere at the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Film Festival on April 22. A week later, it has an encore on May Day at the Riverview Theater. It will likely stir up interest because regular folks speak out and will get heard.
No work. Sand plants came to town, saw an opportunity, and I took it.
Sometimes when the trains run through town at 60 miles an hour past that loading station, you get a huge cloud of dust. Just comes scattering up all over the place.
The people of Maiden Rock have been exposed to quite a bit of silica sand inhalation. You can't help it.
None of the people that run the sand mine even live in Maiden Rock or even anywhere near, which I think is pretty interesting.
Director Jim Tittle grew up in Red Wing and learned from his family that parts of Goodhue County could end up like other parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin.
My mother still lives just outside of Red Wing on a piece of land that my parents have owned for 40 years. And we found out 2 years ago that this oil company from Oklahoma bought the land next door, and they wanted to build a big open pit sand mine.
Jim, who's a professional videographer, decided to make the film.
Have you ever seen an open pit mine? Can you imagine a 150-acre open pit mine? Can you imagine one that'd be running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 20 years? I really couldn't, so I went out and I looked. And the more I looked, the more I heard stories. The more stories I heard, I just kept going. And eventually it turned into a 1-hour documentary.
As the Red Wing area learned more about the mining project, opposition grew.
Well, there's a group that was formed. The group is called Save the Bluffs, and they've been more and more active. In fact, the first show of this film was last week in Red Wing, and that was a benefit for Save the Bluffs. Can I ask your opinion?
On what?
Making a documentary on frac sand mining. Just want to know what people think.
Let her rip. Sounds good to me. It produces a lot of jobs.
The film focuses not on the environmental impact of fracking operations in distant gas and oil basins, but on the effect of silica mining and transport on local communities.
Money talks.
Just from my point of view, it would be a mistake to make this a simple issue of environmentalists versus business. Or radicals versus conservatives. It's not that at all, and I think if you try to make it that, you're bound to lose. It's better, just in my view again, to frame this as very large corporations coming into rural areas and extracting something valuable in a very, sometimes a reckless way.
I think we did a really good job, but it was so shocking and it happened so suddenly that people didn't even really know what to think.
You know, one of the reasons I had to leave a couple minutes early, it's painful. Do what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Do not let, you know, these sand companies just come in and just bulldoze their way through.
The Price of Sand has its official premiere at the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Film Festival on April 22nd. A week later, it has an encore on May Day at the Riverview Theater. DVDs are available on the web at thepriceofsand.com. That's thepriceofsand.com. Democratic Vision segments can be seen on our YouTube channel and the DFL48.org website. Democratic Visions is handmade by volunteers through DFL Senate District 48, Eden Prairie and Minnetonka. Lori Pryor, Chair.